Okay, so welcome back to the Custom Garage Backyard Build Series. Today we're going to be working on building our two service gates, the two 6-foot gates we've been talking about. This is the kit we bought. I wasn't impressed with it at first, but I got to be honest with you. After building one of them, I think it's going to work just fine. So stay tuned. We'll be back with the gate being built, and you can see how we put all this together. I have two 6-foot gates going in there. We've already done a video on one of the 3-foot, or actually a 5-foot, and we'll be adding another 3-foot gate to this 12-foot of gate that we're running down the side of the other end of the yard. The reason for the two 6-foot gates, so I can swing them open if I need to get back in there with a trailer or take a tree out later on or do any kind of work at all. I'll be able to back the truck in with the trailer and have access. The small gate's going to be an entry gate so that we can let the dog in and out, or we can get in and out if we need to just walk in and out of the yard. The other end of the yard, where I've actually put the 5-foot gate on the opposite end of the yard that's finished already in one of the previous video, that gate is 5 foot wide for the reason of getting my zero steer through there. When I'm cutting in the back, I want to be able to just throw open the gate and come back out to the front and cut the front as well without having to circle back around the whole house to get back to the front yard. We've gone ahead and built one of the gates already just to see how they go together and whether or not we're actually going to use this hardware. And to be honest with you, I didn't really like the hardware. I thought, I don't know, I had mixed feelings about it, but I've gone ahead and built one of them, and it's very sturdy and very strong. And I think for the most part, these were the answer to what we needed to keep these gates from sagging and to keep them looking good down the road. And we're going to cover both sides of them anyway. I managed to find some cedar at a reasonable price. It became a lot more cost effective for us to go ahead and finish both sides of the gate, covering up all the hardware and the metal and the stuff that probably wouldn't be that attractive from the inside. So stay tuned here. Okay, so we've got our hardware. These two end rails, this one and this one over here. The only thing that you've got to keep in mind is you're going to be running a diagonal cable from that hole to this hole, and that's the tension cable to keep the gate square if it ever should start to sag on you. These are just cross braces that in between. We'll put them in afterwards. That's like an expandable tubing to keep everything kind of taut up against the wood itself. It comes with 2 anchors. We're not going to need those right now. We're not going to need the latch. We're not going to need the other half of it. So we'll set them aside. We've got a cable. We've got a hook to go into the frame. We've got a bag of screws, 2 brackets that actually bolt over the frame, and they can be adjustable. So what's really nice about this, once you get the gate in place, these will slide up and down the frame, and you can adjust these gates from now until doomsday. So if the ground heaves or you miscalculate or whatever, it's not a panic situation because these can be adjusted. The gate can be adjusted up and down as much as you possibly need to. So we're going to set these aside for now. The only thing we really need, these are end caps to seal the 2 top caps of the tubing so the water doesn't get down them. And we're going to cut open this bag that has all the magic screws in it. And really, truly, the only thing we need right now is the small screws and the long screws that hold the wood to the frame. Now I went ahead and bought 8-footers. I knew the gates were going to be 6 foot. I wasn't sure if they were going to be a little more than 6. So rather than buy a 12-footer and split it in half, I couldn't find any that didn't weigh a ton from being, womanized wood naturally is wet when you get it. And this stuff weighed a ton. And I was really afraid of it. So I found some drier 8-footers and I lost a couple feet off of each one, but no big deal. I'll use that for something else. So I went ahead and I got 8-footers and I cut them down. One of the things I found out after what I had my dimensions, and I thought I was good, I was actually 2 inches off. And I think that was the thickness of the frame for some reason. And so I went back and recalculated and cut off another 2 inches off of the womanized boards, as you can see here. Now what happens here is these just slide into them. Very simple, very quick to build. And the way the cable sets, it's in one corner at the top. So worst case scenario, I would have to pull one board off, which I'm screwing them to the wood, to go in here and access the cable to tighten it if the gate seemed to go out of square or start to sag over time. We're not going to put them in here just yet. That's what the long screws are for. We'll start with the small ones. Okay, that completes the square. Now we'll go ahead and put the tubing in. You get 2 small ones and 2 large ones. They have holes in them, so you want to line your holes up, these holes facing the wood, so that you can screw into the wood. Now, these are just, I think, stiffeners, if anything. This could be bowed a little. I could take the bow out of it with these. So what I've been doing is sliding each one of them out as far as they'll go, hitting each screw here on each end, and then picking up whatever holes I can through the middle, because some of them will be blocked by the tubing. I've been flip-flopping them. Like I ran a big one and a small one here. I'm going to run the small one and big one over on this side. Kind of switches them up. Okay, that completes that. So before we flip it over, we'll go ahead and run the cable. This is just an S-hook, nothing special. I've been putting it in this way like this. And I'm going to undo this guy. This is our cross cable that secures it. And it has a turnbuckle on it. I would suggest opening the turnbuckle up is quite a bit before you hook it up. So then you got adjustment room. Because you're not going to be able to get that cable that tight when you're just stretching it across. So, oh, this one's really out of... So you want your adjuster up at the top of the frame so you can get to it on the inside. This one here is going to go down in the bottom. We're going to put this one in here, like so. And we're going to bring our cable across. And basically all we're doing is looping it around like that. And that's what that little U-bolt was for right here. So you can see how that works. I would pull this up fairly close to the end so that you create a smaller eyelet here so it can't pop off. Like so, I'm just pulling up some of the tension and then I'm going to tighten it. Then we take the rest of the tension up with the turnbuckle on the other end. And all I'm doing at this point is snugging them. I checked the other gate after I put it up, and it seemed to be pretty level. So I'm not going to mess with the cable. Once I start putting the wood on it, if it looks like it's not square, then we'll worry about it. I think at this point we're good. These here, I've been tightening them all the way up, and they seem like they bottom out. And they get to the ends of the threads, which I'm assuming will be more than tight enough to hold this cable from slipping. And it is. You see how it's got a lot of tension on it. It'll definitely hold this gate square. We'll flip it over and do the screws on the other side. And we can see how this is lining up. And it's off a little bit, but I'm not sure that matters. Mainly what those are doing is adding strength to the wood. So whether or not they're running perfectly square here, I don't think it's going to really affect anything. I couldn't tell with it laying on the floor where I was going to land on the other side. This side came up a little bit, but nothing's sticking past where it belongs. So I'm very happy with this gate kit and the other gate kit that we used. So all in all, we're built I think 190 feet of fence, split rail fence that we finished out as either 190 or 200 feet. I have to go back and add it up and see. My golden retriever loves the yard. I can keep her in the yard and keep her away from the deer and all the animals we have roaming around up here. We have fox. We got coyotes that can be pretty rough. They'll go after smaller dogs. I'm not sure they would bother with her. She's pretty good size. I think they would be afraid to come at her, but if they were confronted. The other thing too we have to worry about is copperhead snakes. We have a lot of them up here. And the netting I ran on the inside is small enough holes, about that small, will ward out the large copperheads, not the babies. The babies are the worst. They can continuously shoot venom in you, where the mature ones can only hit you one time. But if we have black snakes, which I know we do, the black snakes ward off the copperheads from what I understand. So, and then we've got some snake deterrent food. It's called, I got it right there, snake and something. And what it is pellets you put down around your yard, and the snakes don't like the smell of it and they'll stay away. So we're doing what we can to keep the animals safe, keep our dogs safe, and us as well. And when people come to visit or grandchildren, they can play in the yard and I don't have to worry about about, you know, are they going to come up on a snake from behind in the woods, coming out of the woods into the yard. So that was kind of the big push for all this. The dog being the most push. She got the award here for needing a yard. I'm just looking at this gate and how it's going to swing. This one's going to be hinged on this side. So we're going to move the camera and I'll show you how these go on. And I won't be able to tighten them up because I got to get measurements off the other side. I don't remember where I set the other ones at. Now all we do with these, the cable's supporting from the top to the bottom. So this is going to be a hinge side. These go over this like so. And then you just got a stove bolt. It's got a flat top and it's hexed. Be able to go through there and lock into the square hole it's in. And then the nut goes on top. And then as you snug them, it locks it to the frame here. So I'm just going to set them in place because like I said, till I get out there and measure the other one up, get them the same, I won't know exactly where I need to be. I cemented 2 womanized 6x6s over the weekend in the ground, and then I wrapped them in the same wood that we're using on the gates here, the cedar, and I wrapped each side of the post, and it left just an offset here because this is the exact width of the post. So we've got like a little, hard to explain, a little indentation in each corner, which gave it a little bit of character. Then on the top, I ran them flat, and I cut a piece of, I think it's 6x6 cedar I've gotten that I'm using for an address post out front. And I sliced off a 2-inch piece of that, and I set it on top of the post, and I cut it on 22-degree angles on all 4 sides to taper it, and then radiused it and set that on top. And it really made the top of the post look pretty good. But to give you an idea how this is going to look, we're going to, on this first board here, on this side where the nuts are, I'm going to have to mark them and recess this nut into the board. I'm going to have to like take a little flat bit and drill like a 1/2-inch recess into the back of this board so it'll lay flat once it's over the top of those nuts. Then the second board will go on. Obviously you can see it's going to be flush. These will get cut off probably about 1 inch. They're going to go about 1 inch in each direction, and they'll get cut about here. And then we'll just line up the boards across one side, and we'll flip it over. We'll line them up on the other side as well. I think it's going to look really good. I'm excited to get these gates up though. That's kind of the final stage of the yard getting secured, and we got a few more things we need to get done out there. The address post anchored into the ground, and I've got a couple more of the corner posts that I'm putting at the end of the driveways, just kind of a decorative post going 90 degrees on an angle with 2 of the rails coming down to the ground. And then we're adding LED lights to the top of them to light up the driveways, kind of like corner posts at the end of each driveway. I have a cement driveway going to this garage we're in now, and then I have a separate driveway that goes to my storage building on the other end of the property. So just trying to look at doing some things that, well, just make it a lot easier at night when we pull in. We know where the driveway is. It's pretty dark up here. We don't have any street lights. Got some yard lights going on, but that just kind of gives you an idea where your driveway's at when you're pulling in. Okay, we're back in the shop, and as you can see here, we've decided to stain these boards off for the gates, so I could basically get stain on all the edges and the back sides. Since they'll probably get the most weather, we thought it'd be important to get them all coated. So that's what we're kind of set up here right now doing, is getting one side done, letting it set overnight, and then you flip the boards over and do the other side, and then probably takes another day for that to dry before we can go ahead and continue on. I'm actually staining them down here on the floor and then just using this other set of sawhorses for drying setup. These 3 posts right here that I've stained up, those are going to be our address markers out front. They're going to be all joined together. You'll see those in the future in a video with our address. We have a 3-digit address, so I have 1 number for each pole or each post, if you want to look at it that way. So we'll be setting them up in the future too. That's going to be kind of cool. So stay tuned for that, and thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit the bell notification and hit the all so you get all the videos in the future. And once again, we really appreciate you sharing the channel. Thank you.